So Dazed is a magazine, and apparently one of their editors just like sent out a DM to Rockstar's marketing people randomly and was like, hey, what if we did like a big piece on your game? Total long shot. They actually landed it. Like, they actually got it. It's crazy. It's crazy. But they actually got it. So this is our first official deep dive into the game with official information. We have the Netflix reveal here in like 2 hours, so we'll react to that. Everybody who's here with us in chat, we are going to watch it live on stream because they said as long as we react, we can do it. So I might have to pause it a couple times and like offer some commentary, but we're allowed to react to it. But this is our first info dump, okay? They talk about all sorts of gameplay mechanics. They talk about systems that we previously didn't even know about. They go into all of it here. And so we're going to look at it because it's pretty interesting. GTA 6, an exclusive deep dive into the video game of the decade. On par with the wonder of the modern world. The pressure on GTA 6 to deliver the holy grail of gaming is enormous. We talked to Rockstar's epic team of creative talents to uncover its secrets. As part of this article, we got some screenshots and stuff that we previously did not have, that we had not seen. And this one, ooh, I like the spike color. That's fancy. And so we got some new visuals, some new visual aids. Okay. I do think there's been debate over how these are captured because these seem to be rendered at massively higher resolutions than any of the gameplay footage we've seen. So for example, like when you go into these, you can actually pixel count. They call it pixel peeping. I don't know if that's what they call it, but you can go in and you can count the pixels and figure out what resolution the picture was rendered at. And like, so even if it was recompressed and if it was reformatted into a different resolution, you can still pixel count and see what the original resolution was, right? So even if it was captured at 480p and you rendered it at 4K, you can still see what the resolution was. And the expectation is, and this is mainly coming from like, Digital Foundry, who have done a lot of analysis on it, is that there is probably a photo mode, whether it's developer focused and it's exclusively a developer tool, or if it's available to everybody at launch, we don't know yet. But the photo mode allows for the game to basically freeze everything. You press a button and then it renders it at a much higher resolution. Other games have done this before. If you want like really high resolution renderings for your screenshots, it's something that has been done before and it's kind of a cool feature. But just bear that in mind when you see these still shots. You're like, wow, that looks amazing. It's probably not what you're going to see when you hit play. Okay. Like once this goes into motion, the resolution plummets. Okay. I don't think you'll be able to see the fine lines of detail on his forehead. Does get me excited for the PC port though. I'll tell you what, because the PC port is going to be able to just run that natively, like on a 5090, send it. So let's see what they say. On the sweltering lee Oneida Keys, sweat slicks the skin of two lovers on the run. We're just getting started, guys. They're on the run as they toast to new beginnings, watching the sunset over the water. A breeze blows through the air, and you can almost feel the condensation dripping from the cold beer bottles in hands. In the background, locals gather on the weather-beaten dock, indifferent to the story unfolding between outlaws. Elsewhere, a few miles north, tanned bodies of all shapes and sizes swarm the sand on Venice Beach. Further north still, locals are caked in mud, caked up from the back of a dirt bike and spattered on a stars and stripes bikini. And as night falls on Vice City, sweaty crowds surge to deafening hip-hop beats spilling out from clubs onto the neon-lit streets. It's been 13 years since Rockstar Games released GTA 5, one of the most acclaimed and controversial video games of all time. And it's been roughly the same amount of time since work began on its sequel, GTA 6, which transports the action from San Andreas, closely inspired by real-life Southern California, to Leonida, based on Florida. That's more than a decade of anticipation, meaning there's unprecedented pressure on the follow-up to meet expectations, as Rob Nelson, head of development and co-studio head at Rockstar North, tells Dazed. Quote, however, I don't know that any amount of external pressure could compare with the pressure we put on ourselves as a team. I will say, I cannot imagine the standards and like the expectations. Like I cannot even fathom the stress that they are under. Like this is not only a multi-billion-dollar project at this point, but it is literally at this point bigger than the gaming industry. There are entire platforms like PlayStation is relying on GTA 6 to basically make Q4 for them. It's crazy, but like they've built into their revenue projections GTA 6 causing a surge of people buying up PlayStation 5s just to play it. It's crazy. Like it's huge. Nothing quite on this level. If you accept that video games are an art form, then Rockstar Games has produced two of the most significant works of the 21st century so far, GTA 5 and the Western-themed adventure Red Dead Redemption 2. The numbers speak for themselves. In 2013, the former broke the record for the fastest-selling entertainment product of all time, earning $1 billion in just 3 days, more than any book or Hollywood film. 5 years later, Red Dead Redemption 2 took the second spot, but the latter also came with a gear shift. While GTA satirized modern life with wacky characters, high-octane car chases, and explosive gunfights, Red Dead Redemption 2 was hailed as one of the most realistic and immersive games to date, with a slower, more emotional tone suited to its storyline. This has been a point of debate and question for a decade, whether or not GTA 6 is going to feel more like GTA 5 or Red Dead 2. If you've seen or heard about any of the leaks that came from 2022, you'll know it's going to be much more Red Dead 2, I think, than GTA 5. Okay, GTA 5, pretty arcadey, pretty silly, slapsticky.
At Germium07
Won't be the case
donated
here.
$19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
1. You think my 3080 and Ryzen 7 will run 144OP60? By the way, love your content too.
Thank
Never
you.
played Witcher 3, so I'm excited about new
Content. Love from Chicago. Much love to you, my friend. I think so. Yeah, 3080 should more than handle it. So yeah, I think you'll be set. Totally. As long as it's not like optimized like crap. But yeah, I think you'll be okay. Appreciate you, my friend. And everybody, I'll catch up on all the other super chats. Appreciate you guys. We got to try to stay focused. I know that's weird coming from me. It's weird. But to be clear, the expectation and the debate has been whether it's arcadey or realistic. It seems overwhelmingly clear at this point it will be way more realistic, way more grounded, way more gritty, way slower paced than GTA 5 was, okay? Some people will love that, some people might hate it, but that's what you should set your expectations based off of. GTA 6 promises something in between the two. The open world game is set in the same fictionalized US that serves as the backdrop for the rest of the series, with all the weapons and supercars you'd expect. But the world is more grounded and reactive than before. Gone are the days when you could traverse the city like a god. Now, players' actions have consequences. Walk down the street with a rifle and the city will have something to say about it. More and more, the games are converging on real life, and non-player characters, or NPCs, are acting, well, less like NPCs than ever. For some gamers, there's a fear that what GTA 6 gains in immersion, it loses in the chaos and anarchy that have been part of the series' DNA since the outset. But for Rockstar, the goal is to create a world of total immersion, which reacts more realistically than ever to what you choose to make of it. Again, some people are going to love that. Some people might hate it. But some people are going to love that. I think that sounds sweet. Okay, I kind of dig this. It always kind of bugged me that in like a lot of, well, it didn't bug me. If you want to take the world seriously, being able to pull out a bazooka, launch it at a building, blow up 15 cars, and then drive around the block and squat behind a dumpster, and then everything's fine, it kind of pulls you out of any sense of immersion. It's fun. It's chaotic, it's crazy, it's stupid, but it's not immersive in that way, right? Like it's silly, it's chaotic, but it's not like truly immersive. I think they will strike a balance here by doing what they did with Red Dead 2, where the story is more grounded, the story mode, but the online, I think is going to be totally crazy. Okay, so if you're hoping for more crazy, wacky ridiculousness, I think they will have that in the online mode. The single player story mode, though, I think is going to be much more Red Dead 2. And they'll try to like balance the two. We look back at our previous games, quote, we look back at our previous games with a critical eye and we see where we want to evolve based on what we didn't do as well as we would like to. would have liked to. Either because we didn't have the time, resources, or technological capabilities, or in some cases, things we just didn't do as well or consider as fully as we could have, says Nelson. A lot of what we do is very iterative. We adjust a lot of things by feel based on what is working and what isn't. It's a good dress. The story has evolved too, with higher stakes and characters grounded in all aspects of the world they inhabit. Players step into the shoes of Jason Duvall and Lucia Caminos, an ex-military drug runner and a fighter fresh out of prison, respectively, and can choose to either play as a couple or go off and cause chaos independently. Oh, so instead of just purely swapping between the two, you can also go into encounters together. We saw some footage and information that suggested you'd be able to do like heists together, or you'd be able to go and rob like a gas station together. You could press a button, Jason shows up, and then you rob it together. But it looks like that's borne out across the board. So if you want to do stuff together, you can. This marks the first time that a GTA game has featured a playable couple in the lead role, which makes for some unique scenarios. On the way to a job, for example, players can cruise along the highway as Jason or swap to Lucia in the passenger seat to scroll on the in-game phone. Yes, there are working social media feeds. What satirical take on 2020's America would be complete without them? This, you may remember, pray tell, heretofore, GTA 6. In the first trailer, it had all these little clips. This is from that social media feed. So on the in-game phone, you'll be able to pull up like their version of Instagram, I guess, and see it for yourself, which is kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I'm wondering how that works. I'm curious, but I don't know. We're gonna find out though. But apparently they've stretched this out, built this out very intentionally based on that, which is cool. That's very, very cool. I'm interested to see how that works and what they do with it. Continuing on. When the job inevitably goes wrong and spirals into a car chase, the fluid system enables players to take the wheel in one moment, then fire on pursuers out the passenger window the next. And afterwards, when it's all blown over, they can skim across the waves on a jet ski, admiring Leonida's seascape and leaping dolphins with their arms wrapped around their partner's waist. That's sweet. That's cute. Influencer mechanics. Oh, God. You know there's going to be quests about that where you have to like go dress up and take photos to get a reputation, to get invited to some party, to be able to do a heist on somebody. Like there's going to be mechanics and systems around that. True romance like Jason and Lucia's usually takes a backseat in GTA games, which when it comes to matters of love and sex are more commonly associated with strip clubs and underground sex work. True. But GTA 6 is very consciously staged as a Bonnie and Clyde type narrative, says Rupert Humphreys, Senior Vice President of Narrative at Rockstar. The trailers alone feature a slew of intimate cutscenes from Jason and Lucia's own fugitive tale, which showcase the special attention that Rockstar's art and tech teams have paid to how bodies look and feel. A hand on a ribcage, hips swinging on a packed dance floor. For some gamers, the story might even serve as one of their earliest encounters with a romantic, albeit crime-ridden relationship, where their choices have repercussions that cut much deeper than Rockstar's previous titles or honor systems that reward conscientious gameplay. This is the part where I'm curious. So choices can have repercussions that cut much deeper than like the honor system in Red Dead 2. I am curious what that means. The suggestion is possibly that means like if you're playing as Jason and you're constantly going to the strip club, there might be a reaction to that. You know, Lucia might not be thrilled about that, you know? So your choices might have an impact on how they interact. It might be something where throughout the story, there are multiple moments where you make choices that affect your relationship together. And that affects like which ending you get at the very, very end based on whether Lucia believes that she can trust Jason or vice versa. There's all sorts of stuff that they could do here. It's very, very interesting. If we can cheat, I'm a cheat. You dirty dog, you dirty devil. You dirty devil. The thing we love about this medium is the way these characters aren't empty avatars that you can do whatever you want with. Their story becomes a journey you share with them, says Rob Nelson, head of development and co-studio head at Rockstar North. Yes, choices, again, like choices in games with narratives is always kind of cool. It has to be executed well, though. And what you lose by going linear, you also have the potential to gain a lot more. So, you know, Arthur Morgan's story is a linear story. Hate to break it to you, he's gonna get that cough no matter what. Okay? There's no getting around it. There's no Sudafed, there's no ibuprofen, there's nothing he can take. Okay? It's gonna happen, and the result is gonna be the result. Okay? Understand? That's just how it is. But given that, I think it also gives them the ability to like really explore narratives in a much deeper way than they could do otherwise, because they don't have to account for 50 different outcomes. They can be aware of like the one that is important, you know? So it's very, very interesting. It's very interesting. The joy of GTA is as much about, I didn't read this one. Lucia is the first fully fleshed out female lead in a mainline GTA game. Before her, it's male protagonists all the way down, dating back to 1999, with the original game in 1997 featuring a 50-50 split of male and female protagonists. Previous installments, including GTA 5, drew criticisms for misogynistic themes and underdeveloped female characters, but the series has evolved and hopes to attract more female gamers to its previously male-heavy player base. In Lucia and Jason, they have created characters with rich, complex identities while still leaving ample room for players to make them their own. Quote, the thing we love about this medium is the way these characters aren't empty avatars that you can do whatever you want with. Their story becomes a journey you share with them. The joy of GTA 5, the joy of GTA is much about what players do with the moments in between the story beats, though. And Rockstar offers what has been up until now as close to true freedom as you're going to get within the confines of a virtual world. Quote, we want to enable as much self-expression as possible without losing the sense or the essence of the characters. Take GTA 5's version of 2010's Los Angeles, for example. You could rampage through the streets with an assault rifle or a tank, cruise by the Pacific in an open top car blasting Frank Ocean, or even relax with a round of golf. Red Dead Redemption 2 pushed things further. Between shootouts, the player-controlled protagonist Arthur Morgan could retreat into the wild to fish, hunt big game, and make a campfire under the geographically accurate stars, or lose time drinking and gambling in remote frontier towns. Come down out of the mountains a few in-game weeks later, and he'd have grown a long beard and a mane of hair and visibly lost some weight, or gained it depending on your skill with a bow and arrow. Bar fights, meanwhile, would have left him bruised and scarred, which is all true. Very immersive. Very, very immersive. GTA 6 marks the return and expansion of these interactive systems that alter the protagonist's bodies. Food affects Jason and Lucia's weight, while exercising visibly builds and tones their muscles. Time to get in the gym, everybody. Time to get in the gym. This was something that was debated. Like, nobody really knew. It was rumored that it might feature a weight system like Red Dead did. We just didn't know for sure. We knew that in the leaks back in like 21, 22, that there was at least a system that could be used for this, but we didn't know if it had been cut or anything like that. But it has actually made it to the final game. They will have food affecting their weight. So if you want to play with like morbidly obese Jason and Lucia, you could do that. Maybe that's like is that a different speed run where it's like, how quickly can you get them to max weight? You know, I wonder. I would do that. I think that'd be fun. It'd be good. That'd be good. If you end up spending a long time away from your bed on the run from police or on a multi-day bender, their features are going to pay the price for that as well. The effect is a bit like the picture of Dorian Gray, only instead of your soul being recorded on a spooky painting in the attic, your habits and sins are written onto the faces and bodies of the game's avatars. This kind of interactivity is unique to video games, shaping the virtual world and the player's responses to it in turn. Between visual feedback mechanisms, deep relationship mechanics, and the heightened realism of the world they inhabit, people might even think twice about going on the arcadey rampages of GTA games gone by, or past GTA games gone by, once they land in Leonida. Vice City, the heart of GTA 6's Leonida, is based on Miami. This means players can expect encounters with virtual iterations of Florida Man, the cultural archetype turned meme known IRL for wrangling alligators, drunken antics, and literal Grand Theft Auto. But these outsized characters are just one bizarre facet of a world built with, quote, an open mind, a genuine appreciation, and a deep curiosity towards the culture it's based on, says GTA 6 game writer Michael My wife, Microwave. It's easy to go in with a cynical view and say, well, that's weird, put it in the game. But we couldn't just stop there. We have to bring a sense of discovery to the players too, not just repeated cliches that already exist. To do that requires years of on-the-ground exploration. Various groups of Rockstar employees have visited Miami and its surrounding areas over the last decade, and there is a dedicated research team embedded in the city. They have a dedicated team in Miami that just does like research on it. Spies. Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's crazy. That's great. You know, when we're talking about like how Rockstar is just different, like they have resources that other companies don't. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Like most companies, they might fly 5 people to the place where they're going to make the game based off of. They take some pictures, bring it back, and that's what they do. Apparently, they have people that are like actual on the ground researchers in Miami. What? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. That firsthand context helped us understand the visual markers and nuances that define the identities we wanted to represent, explains Jamie Lee Lloyd, Senior Art Director for Characters. Quote, while filtering them through the unique lens of GTA and the stories we wanted to tell. I will say the recreations of Miami have been, at least from the screenshots and footage we've seen, looks about right. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. Humphreys agrees that these experiences are essential, noting that a majority of the game's characters are born out of this research, which includes meeting real people who call the state home. Quote, we will meet with ex-criminals, law enforcement, club promoters, gun dealers, and anyone notorious or influential who will take our calls. We hang out, get a feeling for the place, listen to the stories, cross-reference that with books and journalism, and try to get to the heart of which characters will bring the city we are creating to life. You know, they say truth is stranger than fiction. I think that's true a lot of the time, where you'll meet somebody and you're just like, how are you a real person? Like, what is happening? But you are real. Like, this is ridiculous. But that seems to be what they're building a lot of this off of. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people in the game, a lot of the characters, there's like a one person in the real world that they were directly inspired by. Okay, in GTA 6, this cast includes various criminals, from old school drug runner Brian Heater, I'm not sure, and his conspiracy obsessed associate Cal Hampton, to suave bank robber Raul Batista. Elsewhere, the lines are blurrier. Vice City legend Booby Ike oversees a private empire, including the Jack of Hearts strip club, a GTA staple, and a music studio overseen by the young opportunistic Draquan Priest. Quote, we love Miami music, particularly Miami bass, or bass. Bass to mouth. Going through to more recent Miami artists like Kodak Black and Sexy Red, says Humphreys. We were also really interested in how the hip hop scene in Miami exists in house parties in over 10 clubs like Booby Trap on the River, and then high-end places on South Beach where bottles can cost thousands of dollars. We needed characters who could take us through those worlds. In the years since the release of the last game, the music industry has witnessed a shift in focus towards female artists, as represented in the game's rising stars, Real Dime, I think, whose journey can be traced via in-game viral social media posts. With characters like these anchored in a specific place and time, is there a risk of tipping back into reductive Miami parodies, especially given the game's long lifespan? If today we look back at GTA 5's hipsters and geeky tech bros as kind of 2010 time capsule, what kinds of cultural archetypes will we look back on when we revisit GTA 6 in another 13 years? And will they remain true to how we experience them in the present day? I mean, I think inevitably this is going to happen. No matter what you do, if you are making something that is like a commentary on culture at all, it's going to sort of develop into a time capsule. And I would rather them do that than try to like not pretend or make it timeless, you know? Because I don't think you can make something truly timeless. If something is truly timeless, it's going to just feel so bland and generic. It won't feel appropriate or realistic at all. You know, it just doesn't work. So I think you embrace the fact that you're making a game based on the 2020s, you know, and don't try to do anything else. Timeless doesn't exist. I think the games that have tried to do that, and you can feel when they're kind of designed in that way, where they don't want to commit to any specific reference or kind of cultural anything. it just ends up feeling like Roblox. It just doesn't work. The artists, writers, and developers at Rockstar are conscious of the tightrope they're walking. Take Stu Petrie, Vice President of 2D and UI Design, who has overseen much of the careful world building of GTA 6, including the many in-game products, brands, shops, and campaigns that bear more than a passing resemblance to their real-life counterparts. Quote, "Our vision is to build a vibrant, believable culture," he says, meaning that every brand from fashion label to a car company has to feel like more than just a one-off joke, as if it actually exists and serves a real purpose in Leonida's cultural ecosystem. These brands reflect the aspirations, aesthetics, and lifestyles of the people that inhabit our world's spaces. Drop into the game as Jason or Lucia, they come to reflect your inner
donated
life.
500 Czech korunas through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Are Jason's man parts going to shrink when it's cold?
Are they aware of shrinkage? That's a good question. I mean, I think they are. Mine do? I think it's normal. They better? Okay. So Playmaker Baker said they better. So you'll check for us when it launches. Report back. Report back. Let us know. We need to know. It's never cold in Florida. Well, it doesn't have to be, you see. If you go in the ocean, for example, and then get up on the boat and there's a breeze, even though it's still 90 degrees outside, that could still do it because of airflow, you know? Cold's a matter of perspective. It is, truly. It's a good question. Good question. Yeah. We'll investigate. We'll research it. Thank you, Filova, for the very generous super chat. Much love, my friend. Asking the real questions. Drop into the game as Jason or Lucia, and they come to reflect your inner life as well, lending an extra layer of meaning to each haircut or outfit choice. Hell yeah. Yes, it does. I will say I do like this shirt. This shirt looks like a vibe. The potential to explore a diversity of cultures and lifestyles is partly why the series ended up circling back to Vice City and the state of Leonida in the first place, Nelson suggests. Quote, "Florida and Miami have perhaps one of the most diverse and interesting populations in the world. Few know this better than the Miami-based stylist Jillian Carr, who has worked with Rockstar since 2023, designing an in-game fashion ecosystem that aims to reflect all the nuances of taste, lifestyle, affluence, and individuality that are displayed in the city and in America as a whole. Vice City is built around vanity," says Carr. "Between social media, celebrity culture, and constant flow of tourists, appearances carry significant weight, and trend cycles turn over quickly. This brings us back to the background NPCs. Young and old, tall or short, tattooed, pierced, or modified with plastic surgery, wearing throwback Hawaiian shirts, sharp suits, luxury fashion, or muddy combat gear, the bodies and clothes of the virtual masses are also far more varied than in previous games and more tailored to their local environments, from Vice City's Little Cuba to the wilderness of Mount Calaga National Park." Dude, I don't know why. I had never really considered them needing to specifically design NPCs with plastic surgery. But yeah, if you're going to do Miami right, you kind of have to do that. Like, you kind of have to. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you have to. Because I will say, you'll go to like Miami. I've been there. I've been there twice. Once I was actually in Miami. The other time we like kind of drove through and visited very, very briefly. But you'll go to some areas where like you're on one street, totally normal. The next street, it's like haunting. You know, it's like, wow, who did that to you? You know, it's stunning. But it's that vanity that's, you also see it in like LA when you step into like Hollywood or something like that, where you just see like, oh, that's very normal here. It is not normal back home. Tell you what, it's not normal back home. Not used to that. Learning a lot. Quote, "To bring that diversity to life in game, we developed new tools and pipelines that enabled us to build the most detailed and varied character population we've ever created," says Lloyd. But ultimately, he adds, making that population feel authentic comes from more than appearance alone. Quote, "It's the combination of how a character looks, moves, interacts, expresses themselves, brought together through collaboration across multiple teams. WIFE hopes that all these systems working together deliver, quote, a landscape that players feel they've been dropped into and are made endlessly roam around in," which I think will work. To pull off the technical and cultural feats required to build a world of this scale, depth, and interactivity, like we see in GTA 6, the Rockstar team has more than doubled in size since the release of Red Dead 2. Bro. That's crazy. Again, it was not a small team before. Like, that's crazy. They were not a small team before, but they've doubled in size since Red Dead 2. Oh my God. I mean, we've seen some of that because in the UK, they have to disclose a lot of information about the company that they don't have to disclose in the US. So in the UK, they filed a bunch of paperwork showing like the number of employees in like Rockstar India and some satellite offices and stuff. So we knew that they grew a lot. I don't think we realized they were literally twice the size. If so, I mean, it's just crazy. That's wild. It has offices around the world with one branch in LA dedicated almost solely to the world of in-game pedestrians or NPCs. More than 50 real street artists were brought in to design murals in places like Vice City's Stockyard based on Wynwood, Miami. The team that deals with vehicle handling is made up of literal race car drivers. Dude, other companies, they would have just used AI just to generate street art. Call it good. They have 50 real street artists that they hired to do murals in the game. Like, that's crazy, man. That's outrageous. Again, it all adds up to a lot of pressure. Not only because the investment of time, money, and effort is on par with several wonders of the world. At the time of writing, there's an online rumor that the game costs more to build than the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. But also because if all goes well, this is a work of art that people could spend the next decade with at least. Quote, it's a lot of pressure internally and externally, but that pressure is ultimately a privilege we know we are fortunate to have, said Nelson. All we want to do is deliver for our audience. I hope they do. I hope they do. I will say, out of all the leaks that have happened in the last like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, however long it's been, I will say that the stuff I've seen has left me more impressed than before, which I was not, braced for. Obviously, some stuff gets tweaked and adjusted and everything, but it's been very, very impressive what they've been able to do. Very impressive. And people think this game will flop. I don't think those people are serious, or they're just... What's the word? There's a word for it. Stupid. One of the two. But it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And I mean, we'll see what the reaction is to this showcase here in about an hour 45. I'm expecting a lot. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. He took my thing.